What's up, guys? It's Uncle Freedom coming to you on a glorious and well-deserved day off. And today we're going to take a step away from talking about pew-pews and governmental overreach and things like that. And I'm going to take on a viewer request. This has come up probably 16 or 20 times at this point, and on all different platforms. I've had it happen on Instagram, I've gotten messages on Facebook, gotten emails, and even Patreon message regarding this thing. And that is, somebody noticed that I am a watch guy. I firmly believe in watches. I believe that wearing a watch in your day-to-day life signals to the person that you're dealing with that you care about time, both your own and theirs as well. I have also found it to be far less kind of douchey, if you will, because here's the thing: if I see you do this to check the time, I immediately kind of downgrade you a little bit in my brain, because watches are just a simple tool. I come from a family, though, like my grandfather was big into mechanical watches, and he had a G-Shock, and it was kind of like I always appreciated it. And then joining the Army on my own, G-Shock was kind of where it was at. But here I sit now, 40 years old. I've been into and collecting watches since I was probably 19. Is when I started actually collecting them. I own Rolex, I own Omega, I've owned Breitling in the past. But in my day-to-day world, like my most worn watches, because of what I do for a living, is not exactly a friendly thing for watches. I am incredibly hard on watches between the gym and going to work and being at training and being on the range. Every watch I wear on a consistent basis has to be able to deal with those things. And like when I go to the range, I'm not at the range for an hour. I'm at the range for 7 or 8 hours. And I don't fire 150 rounds. I'm firing 500 to 1,000 rounds. Running around, jumping over stuff, doing things in my normal daily life. They get bashed into doors. They get bashed into everything. So the watches that I choose have to be able to deal with that. So for those viewers that have asked me about this, I appreciate it for giving me a chance to talk about something that's kind of a weird hobby that a lot of people aren't into. If you're wondering what it's called horology. Horology is the study and keeping of all things time. And it's kind of cool, man. Watches are neat. So I figured we'd do it this way. We look at my top just 10 watches that are pretty much a part of what I do, and then a weird bonus one at the end. So first up, my number one is actually on my wrist right now. Let's see if you'll focus. Really? This watch is the Citizen NY0040-17LE. That is the Citizen. This is the Citizen ProMaster automatic dive watch. This is one of the old ones, the NY0040. So it's the old school, the 8 o'clock crown. This one, the 17LE, is a European release, so it's got a very dark blue dial. 200 meter water resistant, automatic, dive timer, 60 click dive timer bezel. I love this thing. I'm a big fan of dive watches. I like the fact that I can keep track of time and elapsed time on there. And you'll notice most of mine will run these kinds of straps. This is the Blue Shark. This is the new Blue Shark Alpha Shark, I believe what it is. Strap. I like their straps. They're pretty good. So what's number two? Well, number two is another Citizen. So this is the Citizen ProMaster Diver Eco Drive. So you'll notice it's a quart, but it's powered by light. So I don't have to worry about changing batteries or anything in this. It's a true ISO certified diver. So 200 meters of water resistance, 60 click dive bezel on here. I picked the blue one because I think the blue with the white looks really cool. Pretty decent lume on this watch, but I always kind of laugh because there's a gnarly scuff at 6 o'clock on this thing where it got smashed into somebody during a fight. So yeah, probably my number two watch right now, Citizen Eco Drive ProMaster Diver. After that, it gets worn all the time, and that is my Casio DW5600. This is the original G-Shock. I have the bull bars on mine. I like that because, like I said, they get smashed into stuff, so I don't chew up my LCD screen. But yeah, standard G-Shock. These are super cheap, like $50, but they are just bomb-proof, and I really like it, and I like that one. I've had that one for a pretty solid amount of time. It's pretty cool. So number 4, and I wear this watch a lot. It's currently off, so I'll give it a couple of shakes. That is this guy. This is the Seiko Samurai Pad Eye. So it's one of the Prospect lines, so professional specifications lines. I've had this watch for 5 years, I think, at this point. It's a little beat up. Excellent looms. Got different color looms for the hour hand and the pip for the dive timer bezel. 120 click bezel. Their stainless bracelet with the ISO spring bars. It's got a wetsuit extension in it and everything. But yeah, I love this watch. I kind of like how kind of squared off and just kind of gnarly this thing is. But yeah, I've had this watch. I mean, it's the Pad Eye edition, which is the professional diver instructor group. So pretty cool. I like that watch a lot. I've had it for a long time. Next to that, I wear this watch at work. I wear this watch all the time. I'll give her a couple of cranks. She's got some scars. She wears her love all the time, and that is the Hamilton Khaki Auto. So this is the 42 millimeter Hamilton Khaki Auto on bracelet. It lives a lot of its life on a leather strap, but this has been a super cool watch. Like, I love the khaki fields. I think they're cool. I didn't want a manual wound version though. I wanted the automatic, and the automatic version of this has actually got a display case back, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so I get a display case back, 100 meters of water resistance. Only thing I would change about this is that it had a screw down crown. This one doesn't. But I love this watch. I've had this watch for a hot minute too. I think I bought it right when the 42 got released. So next up is kind of a weird watch, and it is the Luminox Navy SEAL. These are kind of universally known. This was the issued watch for the Navy SEAL guys for a while. It's actually got a Navy SEAL trident and stuff on the back. But I love the fact this has got the 60 click dive time bezel. It's Carbonox is the thing, so basically plastic. 200 meters of water resistance, Swiss quartz movement on the inside. I love that kind of white handset versus the blue dial. I love that blue dial. But these actually have tritium. So I have a tritium ampule even at my 12 o'clock pip, and then tritium ampules at all of the hour markers, and as well as the hands and the second hand. But really cool. Just a neat watch, kind of 90s kid nostalgia, if you will. You're a 90s kid, you remember the Luminox watches. They're pretty cool. Next to that, this watch doesn't get as much love as it used to get, but I still break it out and wear it. It's just a cool freaking watch. And that is the Glycine Combat Sub. So this is 200 meter water resistant. Actually runs at 28,800, so it's a smoother sweep. This has got an ETA 2824, I believe it is. So Swiss movement, owned by the Swatch Group. I have an engineer's screw link 5-link bracelet on this guy. Love it. I like how thin this thing is. So it slides underneath the cuff pretty well if you've got like on a dress shirt or something. Sapphire crystal. I think I've had this watch for 7 or 8 years, or 10 years at this point. But I love it. I love that the red bezel, 60 click dive bezel as well. Pretty good. The lumen's actually really cool. Like all the numbers are loomed as well, so the numbers kind of stand out when you wear it, which is cool. But yeah, that's by far, you'll notice a trend. Like all of my watches are either field watches or sports watches or dive watches. Like that is literally the 5th dive watch I've shown, and I've shown a field watch and a freaking G-Shock. And no surprise, the next one is also going to be a G-Shock, and that is the Casio Mudman dual sensor. So this has a temperature and a compass on it as well. This is a solar powered version of it, so it actually recharges off the sun. Pretty cool watch. This watch is about 13 years old at this point, 12 or 13 years old. Still works great, still holds good time. The battery still charges all the way. Probably doesn't last as long as it used to, but it's an awesome watch. I mean, G-Shocks are indestructible. They're freaking awesome. I love them. The simplicity of the DW 5600 and then like kind of the chonk boy of this one. I have a Mudmaster as well, but it's still not as cool to me as the Mudman is. And then number 9 is the Garmin Instinct. I bought this Instinct in 2020. Really good strap. I wore this all the time, and I stopped wearing it at work because this buzzes when my phone gets a message, and my phone rings all the time at work. So I stopped wearing it because if I was having an interview with somebody and I was talking to them and I had put my phone on silent, this still buzzes every time I get a message or an email. So I would be trying to interview and talk to a victim of a crime or something, and my watch is constantly buzzing on my wrist. And I didn't like it. I do love some things about it, though. I love the ability for me to work within the Garmin apps and actually like plot my course and stuff, do waypoints. I love that it gives me my elevation, my temperature, my barometric pressure and stuff, which is great for me as a shooter. This is a fantastic tool as a precision rifleman, is something like the Garmin. I adore it. And then my number 10, and I think both of these are on here because I'm mad that they got stolen. One of them was, I had it because, so I am a big time Clive Cussler fan for books. I don't listen to music when I'm at work. I listen to books on Audible. And I love Clive Cussler, and like Dirk Pitt, he's awesome. You know, like when he raised the Titanic in one of those books. It's kind of cheesy stuff, but it's really cool. And he always wore a Doxa 300 sub. And I bought a Doxa 300 sub after dive school, and I loved it. Like, I had the orange one, which was really, it's kind of the cliche with the beads of rice bracelet. It was really cool. I broke the bracelet and somebody picked it up and I never saw it again. So I've always been kind of bummed. I want another one, but they're about $2,000 and it's just not something I'm willing to spend the money on again right now. After that, I'm still mad that I don't have this one. I lost this watch not a long time ago, got into a tussle and it broke the strap. And I did not realize I was missing the watch until I got back from where I was. And when I went back, it was gone. And that was the Seiko SNJ025, otherwise known as the Arnie. So that would be the watch that Arnold Schwarzenegger wore in The Predator and in Commando. It was the first analog digi dive watch. So, I mean, it's actually diver rated, 200 meters water resistant. Like the LCD display controls the hand. It's a really cool watch. It's a chunky watch. And it was really cool. It fit kind of the person I am and what I do and I expect out of my watches. And yeah, I was super bummed when I realized I lost that watch. And they're not as expensive. They're about $400, but it's one of those. It's like $400 on a new watch, or I can buy more ammo. So I make choices. I also have children. So, and then I'll give you a bonus, and it's a bonus because it's a really weird watch brand, and that is Vostok. A lot of people know the Vostok because of the Scuba Dude or the Amphibia. And the Amphibia is their dive watch, of which I have one. I actually have two, one of which is dead. I loved it. I talked to them years and years ago. I've had the first one I think, for 8 or 9 years. And they were like, hit it really hard. So I smashed it into my palm, and it started working again for a little bit, but then it died. Mine was the dive watch that had the KGB shield for the thing. This is the Komandirsky K65, so this is the Commander Field Watch K65, but it's got a dive time bezel. Not a true dive time bezel. There's no clicks on it or anything like that, but it is an automatic 200-meter water-resistant screw-down crown. It's a quirky watch, man. Vostoks are like a super quirky watch because of the way the crown works. So it screws in, but like the crown is like super loose. And you actually have to like pull it and get it set, and then you can actually wind the watch. It's a cool watch. Like, they're neat. They're really tough. I mean, this one's, I think, 7 years old, 6 or 7 years old. Pretty cool. The loom is terrible. They're like everything Russian engineered. I mean, it's big and heavy and clunky, but by God, it works. And when it doesn't work, it's more of a nit, which is fine. You know, it's like Brandon Herrera wore mechanical watches. Like, I feel like Brandon would, the AK guy, would be rocking a Vostok, because they are cool. They're cool, chunky pieces of kind of like world military history. Like, Vostok is an old Soviet brand. I even have some actual like CCC or CCCP marked Vostoks, and a couple other ones. I have an original Cosmonauts watch. They're neat. I've always had a fascination with what took place behind the Iron Curtain, and like some of their watches, again, like super chunky, and but I mean, they are neat. They do work. They got the big dome plexiglass crystal, so they're kind of charming, if you will. They're not a Swiss-made watch. They're not, you know, they're not a Glycine or a Hamilton or a Rolex or something like that. But they're really not trying to be either. They're just a chunky field watch that's tough. So, guys, again, that's I appreciate somebody asking for this because I love watches. I think they're cool, and I can tell a lot about you if you by what watch you pick. For instance, if I meet you and you've got on a Citizen Eco Drive dive watch, I'm gonna immediately assume that you're an outdoorsy guy because you need the watch to work all the time. If if you're running an Aquaterra from Omega, I'm gonna assume that you're kind of a sporty dude, but you spend most of your time in a cubicle. And if you've got on a G-Shock, you just need that damn thing to work no matter what you do to it. So watches are fun. They're an entertaining thing. They are absolutely something you can show your personality in much the same way we do with carry guns. But yeah, I thought this would be fun. I was kind of excited to talk about it. So I figured this would make for a good video. So guys, I am Uncle Freedom. Let me know your favorite watch down below. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. And until next time, I'll see you later.